Hello, and welcome to Life Science New York's Spotlight Series, a regular series of conversations with innovators, leaders, and change agents in New York's biomed and life sciences ecosphere. I'm pleased to be joined today by Chris Cassan, the Director of Sales and Marketing at Coax Technology. In addition to the terrific work that Chris does at Coax and his team, Chris is also a member of the board of Life Sciences New York, and so we're particularly pleased to have him with us today. Chris, welcome, and it's nice to see you.
Yes, good morning, Win. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Cleveland.
So actually, you gave me an entree. It is a nice sunny day in Cleveland. Maybe we could start here, Chris. What is a company in Cleveland, Ohio, doing as part of a member of a trade association here in New York? Help us understand from your perspective the connection.
Sure. Yeah, I think that we were excited to be involved with Life Science New York because of the innovation and technology that your team has really cultivated in New York, and it's a neighboring area, right? I mean, we're not that far away, and there's a lot of technology companies that are involved in the Cleveland area with the Cleveland Clinic and all the different spinoffs of the universities here, and a lot of networking within the corridor there of 90 with through Western Pennsylvania, through New York, and it's a great corridor of technology, and great to have networking opportunities to get exposed to the different type of companies that are introducing products and innovating, and so it's a great fit.
So before we turn to Coax Technology, let's spend a little time with Chris Cassan. Chris, tell us a bit about your background. What led you here? What brings you here? What's the story behind Chris Cassan?
Sure. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio area, and went to school in Athens at Ohio University, and moved up to the Cleveland area, Northeast Ohio, back in '89, and that's where really got involved and grew up in the electronic distribution business. So really, technology of selling parts to contract manufacturers, electronics, semiconductors. And working on new designs for new technologies, and working with different manufacturers, and many years in the region, New York, Western PA, Michigan, Indiana, and just working with technology companies that are growing in electronics. So that was most of my career, and then I evolved into contract manufacturing, right? So we're taking electronic components, populating them on print circuit boards to bring the technology to products and to the innovation of, and then lately the Internet of Things have really taken off, cloud-based products, and it's really fueled the growth and bringing onshoring a lot of businesses back into the U.S.
And let's talk specifically about Coax. What is Coax's primary line of business? How does it interact with life science entrepreneurs, innovators, and companies?
Yeah, it's really a key part to help companies develop their technology, right, and to scale. You have to be able to be involved in that development area. To build prototypes and to help the customer make their products, design it for manufacturing, whether it's quality, whether it's cost, and scale it. So that's Coax spends a lot of time. We have a lot of engineers here to help companies with their ideas, with their patents, validating the process of their design for production, and then helping them through that regulatory type stages with FDA. We don't necessarily get involved with the FDA, but we can help them. We understand what the heights are that they have to hit, and we can help them with their documentation and all that processes. So to scale for production, that's our goal. So we've seen a lot of activity in that area. We're doing finished products, so we're doing not just the printed circuit board. We can do that, but we also can help them with their finished product, whether it's a plastic enclosure and working through the test fixtures that have to be through that process, testing the board, then testing the firmware, testing when it's finally packaged, to do logistics, potentially ship directly to distributors or hospitals, whatever it might be.
So I was struck as I was listening to you talk about the work of coax technology, that in many ways, what I hear you saying is that you're providing more than simply contract manufacturing services, but rather you're helping your customers reach their goals. And I'm curious, Chris, as you think about that, or for our viewers who may be in the innovator space, when does it make sense to connect with a contract manufacturer? How do I know when I'm ready to go to coax technology? And when do you know that you've got a relationship that makes some sense?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I mean, our company is in that niche of, we like to be there early, right? Because that's where we can help, right? It's not final FDA approved, because that is way down. It's a commodity at that stage. We like to get involved early, where usually the customer's engineering team, electrical engineers, have breadboarded, we call it, or built some prototypes of the technology, and it seems to be working. But now they want to streamline it. Now they want to make it manufacturable, to build thousands, right, or even larger volumes. So that's where we get involved, and I think that's the sweet spot to say, hey, maybe those parts need to be not on the edge of the board. Maybe they need to be in this kind of layout. We could possibly take some cost out. Maybe there's some duplication. Maybe could be quality concerns, because when we build in thousands, we have automated machines, right? Surface mount machines, that it would place it quicker, more effectively, better quality, better yield, if we made some tweaks. And we want to go through that period with the customer before they want to go and gain approval from the FDA, because once the FDA approves, then you're locked up on that design. Making changes can be time consuming and costly. So that's the best time to really make an impact.
And from your perspective, you talked a bit about sweet spots. What's the sweet spot in terms of the size of the customer? You clearly deal with startups, with emerging companies, but I know as well that you work with established life sciences companies. Give me a sense of from your perspective, who's the ideal customer?
Yes, we're looking for customers that, like you said, maybe don't have the revenue today to spend on their products because they're developing, but they're projected out of what their business plan might be, and the quantities and the ramp up, and time frames, business plans, so on and so forth. But we're looking for a customer that has a spend of over $750,000 a year. So we know that when you start, you got to build prototypes, might be different iterations, those type of things. But that's the target that we're looking for. Most of our customers are over $1 million a year, and scale much bigger than that. But that's what we're looking for. We have quite a few customers are now coming back onshoring from Asia, so there's significant volumes. And when you look at surface mount type of PCBAs, the idea is to automate as much as possible. So the labor time to build a printed circuit board, if it's just surface mount, can be automated, and it can be a matter of minutes. And we should be competitive with Asia Pac in those scenarios. Now, if you're building something with 30, 40 minutes of labor, maybe a turnkey type of product, then labor, you have to look at the different labor rates in different regions throughout the world. But that's what we're really looking at from a ideal customer relationship.
So give me a sense, Chris, from your perspective, how does one begin to figure that out? They reach out to you. Where do the conversations start? How do they progress?
Yeah, I think that obviously, like most companies, you want to have a website that is interactive, so you can attract customers in that manner. We really like working with New York Life Sciences because that you get that networking opportunity, right? So you're going to events, you're getting to know different individuals, and that's we call that dating, right? You're almost dating. You're getting to know the individuals, the organizations, their passions, and that's really exciting in the medical field. Everyone's passionate. They got an idea that's really going to change lives, and there's no doubt about it. So that's where you just try to share the data, what you're trying to accomplish. Obviously, we're looking at electronic solutions of the product, and just seeing what their plan is and how we can help them get to where they want to go. I mean, that's really, and like you said, the region. A lot of customers like to stay in the region so they can get in the car and drive and look at the prototypes and make some adjustments. And if you're in a driving type of scenario, because there's a lot of hand holding from time to time, and that's very important. So that's the kind of dialogue that we're looking for, and it takes quite a bit of time. Could take multiple years to get where we both want to go.
And I'm wondering too if you can do a little fortune telling or peering into the future. Certainly what I'm seeing, I think what so many of our member companies are seeing, is that the leading edge in terms of healthcare technology is in the space of remote monitoring and or data collection, wearables, implantables, all sorts of modalities that frankly are increasing independence for patients, but increasingly rely on electronics to be able to coordinate care with caregivers. As you look down kind of the runway of the next 5-10 years, where do you see the intersection of electronics and healthcare moving?
Yeah, I think that's where things are going for the home healthcare. I mean, the cost of the hospital and the services are, they're only going one way is up, right? So if you can enable folks at home and have the doctors be able to monitor, and a lot of times that's through wireless technology, right? That's cloud-based products, and that's where, and the ease of use, right? It's got to be, very straightforward that you can do this and it can be monitored. And I think that's where the technology, the innovation is going. And, the FDA is, when you go to cloud-based products, the FDA is really looking at the security of the software, of the vital signs, the vital information that's being transmitted. And that's becoming a big issue. And so, but you have to have electronics, right? So you have to have the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth, the different technologies that might enable these devices to talk to the cloud and to be reliable and make sure there's no obsolescence, that you can get these products, get these parts that enable the solution. So I think that's where it's going. That seems to be the theme. Smaller, lighter, easier to use, ease of use is definitely where things are going. And that's where electronics comes in, because it is small, it's lighter weight, and and smart. It's becoming smarter.
And you mentioned a couple of times reshoring, and certainly we're seeing not only increased rationale for bringing manufacturing back to the United States, but an increasing desire to have proximity to manufacturers, to producers. And yet I suspect that you must deal with some customers who have become accustomed to doing manufacturing overseas, either because they believe they can do it at lower cost, or there's some advanced technologies. Give me your pitch as to why somebody should be looking to do their manufacturing in this country.
Yeah, I think we're seeing it more and more. I mean, the number one thing is over the last few years has been the tariffs. I mean, the tariffs have grown substantially to 30%. So, so you better have more than 30% cost savings on labor. So that's the high mark right there. And then, through the COVID crisis, logistics was tremendous issue of delays and lost material. And that really stung a lot of customers. And then of late, it's the geopolitical situation in Asia Pac that has a lot of companies concerned, right? That, if something happens, what happens to their source? And where are they at in the pecking order of getting their product or continued product availability? So I think those are some of the things that have really blossomed over the last 5 years that are concerns. Some companies are going to Mexico. It's closer in geography and maybe more, you don't have to deal with some of the issues that we talked about. But like I said, if you had to have a pretty automated assembly, I think we can be competitive. And that's what we usually are doing, is bidding against that type of scenario to make sure that we're competitive and can handle changes. Changes do happen where they're changing a part or need to make a different marketing turn. We want to go into wellness instead of maybe more FDA based. Some companies have been pivoting, to have different versions, so that is something that we can move quickly to build a product that might be, more wellness oriented, more consumer oriented, and this might be more for a different application of a different type of SKU or a different type of packaging. So, I think that's important too, to be able to pivot.
Fantastic. Hey, listen, Chris, as always, these conversations go by too quickly, but I want to thank you for sharing your insights. This has been Chris Cassan, the Director of Sales and Marketing at Coax Technology, really a terrific partner of ours at Life Sciences New York, and has worked and continues to work with many of our member companies. So, Chris, I want to thank you again for spending some time with us. Those of us in New York are looking with jealousy at the beautiful blue skies in Cleveland. So I'm hoping you're sending some of that good weather to us on the way.
Absolutely. Thank you, Win, and your team. It's been a great relationship. Thank you.
Great. Well, we'll talk soon, Chris. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Bye now.